Hi guys, Mitchell here, Mitchell, Minnesota. Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be an accent challenge, or an accent tag, not really a challenge. I was tagged along with everybody else in the world by Numi, so I don't think everybody that she follows, I follow, so I'm hoping to see a lot more of these. So I've got her stuff on my iPad because I took that down, and I want to do this because I thought it was such a fun video to watch, and it's so interesting to see how different people talk all across the country and all across the world and everything like that. So let's get started with that. Before I do though, let's talk this lighting. Oh my gosh, you guys, on Amazon I got these for like 60 bucks, these box lights, and watch, I'm gonna turn them off. So here's one off. Where's the other one? Where's the off switch? Okay. So here's me with it off, which is fine, but I'm obsessed with these things. They are so, a little bright, but that's okay. So without further ado, let's get into this tag. I just think it's so much fun. So the accents tag is name and username, and my name is Mitchell, and my username is Mitchell in Minnesota, which should give you some hints on where I'm at in this world of ours. Number two, where are you from? I am not actually originally from Minnesota. I am from a little town called North Bend, Washington. If you remember the show Twin Peaks from the early 90s with Kyle MacLachlan and a couple other big names, that's where I'm from. I was actually raised out in Washington State my entire life until I turned 24 once I graduated from college. But I did spend all of my summers out here, and most of my contact with family in Washington or here in Minnesota was from people from Minnesota. So I've been told my whole life I speak like my family. So take that for what you will. Oh God, where'd it go? There we go. So yes. So the next part is to say these words and see if you have an accent. Okay. Ant. Roof, root, unless I was like paper route, I'd say paper route, but I think I'd say route, like Route 66. See, there's two different ways to say it, I think. Salmon, caramel, I don't say caramel, that's pretentious, caramel, fire, water, water. Now, see, it's like you're thinking about saying it, so it's like, how would you naturally say it? Water, water. That's how I'd say it. Again, New Orleans. Yeah. I wouldn't say New Orleans, I'd say New Orleans. Pajamas, but rarely do we say pajamas. We'd say either PJs or jammies. So not like pajamas is just too much, I think. So definitely PJs, mostly PJs. Doorknob? Doorknob? Doorknob. What the hell? Doorknob. And then Numi added her own, because she was curious how we say it. Pecan. I do say pecan, not pecan. That's another one that just sounds pretentious to me. I'm like, oh, I'll have the pecan pie. No, give me a piece of pecan pie. Data. Data. I don't say data. Data, definitely. And then schedule. I say schedule, not schedule. I think that to us in the US, that's a very British thing. So yeah, we've joked growing up. We've been like, oh, let me check my schedule and see what I've got going on, but not, yeah. So I'm curious if any other Americans have done it like that, where you kind of joke about saying schedule, but I don't think I've ever heard another American say schedule. That's a little out there for us. What is it called when you toss toilet paper at someone's house? That's TPing, like your house is gonna get TP'd. What is the bubbly carbonated drink called? Okay, this is a very contentious question in this country, in the US. So what is the bubbly carbonated beverage called? I've lived in 3 places in my life, most of my life in Washington State. I grew up calling it pop. Then I moved to Vegas to teach for a few years, and they call it soda, and it was the weirdest thing, and I don't like it. And then moving to Minnesota, back to calling it pop. So it's pop, period. Period. It's pop. It is not soda. It's not Coke. It's not, no, pop. What do you call gym shoes? Tennies or sneakers? But probably tennies. What do you call your grandparents? I called my mom's mother and father, grandma and grandpa, and my dad's mom and dad, Nana and Papa. And I think it was just to differentiate the two so we know what we're talking about. Yeah, Nana and Papa. What do you call things in a store that you put groceries in? Shopping cart. I don't even know if there's another word for it. Trolley? Isn't that what they say in the UK? Trolley? No, shopping cart. Or cart, which is probably cart. What is the thing called that you change the TV with? Remote control. But I've heard a lot of people back home in Washington State say clicker. Get the clicker. I think that's like an older word, clicker. So, yeah. Do you think you have an accent? I don't, but I've been told I do, especially since I've come to Minnesota. Like, growing up, my mom has an accent kind of like this growing up, so I've always talked like her. So, like, my O's have always been elongated and stuff like that. So, it's just, you know, and there's a lot of people in Washington State who are from Minnesota. There's like this weird parallel that I've noticed, like, if they're not here, they're there. And that's no offense to anybody in North Dakota, Montana, or Idaho. That's just big metropolitan areas. You've got the Twin Cities, and then west, touching Canada, you've got Seattle. So, say 3 things of your choice for people to see if you have an accent. These are kind of random. Like, I think here in Minnesota, like I do say Minnesota. Like, about, I'd say like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And I think I hear within the Twin Cities, St. Paul and Minneapolis, you don't necessarily hear that as thick. They say they don't have it at all, but they totally do. But then once you go up north or west out of the Twin Cities into more rural areas, absolutely, it's so much more pronounced. Car, about, house, anything with 2 O's is like done, like boom, scoot. It's a very recognizable language. Like, I don't know, I think it's probably because of the Scandinavian background that's here. It's like that this weird accent pattern. You know, like in Boston, they'd say car, the car, and we say car. And in Washington, like my friends that I grew up with will say like car. Washington is definitely more influenced by like California. But out here, it's just easy to fall back into it. Yeah. So what did Numi put? About? Yeah, house. So I think and it's funny because I think the stereotype is that Canadians talk like that, but it's definitely in Minnesota and Wisconsin, which I'd say Wisconsin, not Wisconsin. It's interesting to see what you would say. But Numi put about, house, Z. We don't say Z. We say Z. I don't know why. There's so many things in American English, in the American culture system, that are just oddly different. And that's why I'm so, like, I love Canadians, because we are so similar to each other. Like, we are brothers and sisters. We have the longest border in the world. Canadians love to come to the US. Americans love to go to Canada. But there are some differences, and that being one of them. We don't say Z. They got that from the British English. I forgot what, yeah, she said toke, no. What else do we have? There's so many words. Let me see if I can find any. Okay, I looked it up, and I called my mom to ask her, and so I got some. And the first one, which is so stupid because we say it all the time, like on the phone, is ofta. Like, you know, oh, I had such a bad day, and this is going on, and the other person say, ofta. And that's a very Norwegian thing to say, but it's very popular to say in Minnesota, is ofta. UFF-DA. Ofta. Skål is something that they say here. I don't really say it, but it's Norwegian. I think Swedish and Danish probably too, but it's like cheers in Norwegian. But obviously I am not a Minnesota Vikings fan. I was born and raised a Seahawks fan, and I will die a Seahawks fan. They do say that Skål when the Vikings score. So that's like their thing, which obviously Vikings, Scandinavia, Norway, it's all intertwined. Pop, which we've talked about. This next one is weird. Okay, so where I'm from, we say duck, duck, goose. Goose. See, I'm jazzing it up now that I'm thinking about it. Duck, duck, goose. Here, they say duck, duck, gray duck. Has anybody else heard of duck, duck, gray duck? Because I certainly haven't, and I don't believe in it. Hot dish. Hot dish is a very popular word that Minnesotans say, and like, especially around the holidays, like now, like we're bringing in stuff to work, and like a lot of people I work with, like, oh, I'll just bring a hot dish, and a hot dish is going to be usually layered with some sort of vegetable and cream-based thing, like cream of mushroom, and then you have like green beans or like a tater tot casserole. It's really a casserole type thing, but anything can, I think, qualify as a hot dish. But there's some really good ones in Minnesota. You betcha, yeah, that's a pretty stereotypical one that I've heard, and nobody will admit to it up here, but I have heard them say, oh, you betcha. Don't you know? Yeah, I haven't really heard that one as much, but it's just funny to me, you betcha, or don't you know. And then up north, and up north is one that I have heard a lot. I swear on everything, you guys, in order to like be a Minnesotan, you have to have access to a cabin or own a cabin, or your parents own a cabin up north. That's literally the only way you're going to make it in this world in Minnesota, and to be a Minnesotan is to have a cabin up north. I do not. So that is that. I want to see one more thing. I'm just checking where's the YouTube? Okay. I'm just doing this video in one go. Well, really two. And then we had some bonus questions. Do you say serviette or napkin? I say napkin, and I think it's serviette French, which maybe, you know, because Canada has 2 official languages. I've never heard it called a serviette. I've never called it a serviette myself. The most times I've said serviette is today, right now. Definitely napkin. Tap or faucet? It's a faucet. It's always been a faucet. Here, again, I think that's something that Canadians get from the United Kingdom. Chocolate bar or candy bar? Candy bar. Which is silly now that it's been brought up, because it's like, well, a chocolate bar is a chocolate bar, and a candy bar is like not chocolate but still candy, but we just call, like, to me, a Snickers is a candy bar, or a Butterfingers is a candy bar, even though it's chocolate. Washroom, bathroom, or restroom? This is probably my favorite one because I actually had to think about it. We don't say washroom, at least I don't, and I very rarely hear it said. Bathroom and restroom, so you're going to use those 2 interchangeably, and other Americans, hopefully you can comment on whether or not this is what you guys do too. When you're talking, like I'm talking to you as friends, or you're talking to your friend or your kids or your mom, and you're like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Where's the bathroom? Oh, it's over there. Okay. But let's say you're at a restaurant, or you're asking somebody you don't know, you'd say, where's the restroom at? Which ways, can you point me to the restroom? I think it's just restroom is a little bit more polite, and bathroom is a little bit more just in with your group of people that you are with. And then keep having to. Yeah. So yeah, I think I would love to see some more of these videos, because I know a lot of you, the cool thing is we're all over the country, and even if we're in certain places in the country, that doesn't mean that that's where you originated from. I'm not from here originally, but I've picked up so much stuff that they do that I would love to hear what you guys have to think and say, more like what you say. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and let's talk soon.